about that, though. Our testimony for today is actually from a gentleman named Kevin Baldner, who's sitting here on the stage. And when I asked him how he should be introduced, I asked him, so do we say, it's the man, the myth, the legend, Kevin Baldner? He wasn't real keen on that, but he didn't give me anything else to go with. So if you'll put your hands together and welcome the man, the myth, and the legend, Kevin Baldner.
Thank you, and good morning to everybody. Shaking like a leaf on a tree up here. This is unusual for me. So I left from the walkthrough this morning, and I walked back to the bookstore and grabbed this lovely pink Duck Commander devotional. And as with much of my life, I just randomly opened a page, and here's what it says at the top of the page. I don't have my reading glasses, so bear with me. It's 1 Peter chapter 3, verse 15. It says, "But in your hearts, revere Christ as Lord. Always be prepared to give an answer to everyone who asks you to give the reason for the hope that you have. But do this with gentleness and respect." As you can see, maybe not, the word hope's on my shirt. That's another chapter in my life for another family member. But when I woke up this morning, this isn't the shirt that I put on. This was the shirt that was in my bag. I'm in a transitional stage in my life right now. And so I grabbed this shirt and I saw the hope and I thought, wow, what's that mean? What's the point in that shirt? So I'll wear it and we'll see where it goes. And then I opened to that and you know, that's kind of the way God's worked in my life. It's always been, I don't see it coming. I'm looking for answers, and I don't always get the answers that I want, but I get the answers that I need. I grew up in this area, went in the Army for a few years. By the way, anybody that wants to join the Army, if you're thinking about developing a drinking problem, it's a really great place to do it. At least it was for me. Got out of the Army, came back here for a year. My drinking was progressing. And I found that being here allowed me to do things in a way that I wouldn't have got away with anywhere else. I was very much able to do as I pleased, however I pleased, and stay out of trouble. Moved to North Carolina. It didn't take long for me to get in trouble down there. The drinking progressed, and this all ties into what I'm going to say, but needless to say, after a couple of years down there and getting in a lot of trouble and meeting a young lady and falling in love, and then her taking off her ring and saying, "I can't live with you anymore," and walking away, I was in a very, very hopeless state of life. I didn't know what to do. I fell to my knees because that's the way I was raised. When you're in trouble, pray. That's not the way it works today. That's more of a constant. But I knew if I called on God, I would somehow get help. I knew if I called out His name that He would deliver me. And I was given a phone number, made a phone call, met some people, and well, things progressed. The alcoholism was being dealt with, and I was gaining a new hope on life. In one particular event early on, I was having a bachelor party for a friend of mine. There's a challenge if you've never tried that. Have a bachelor party for someone and don't drink. And I'm sitting there and I'm so nervous. I'm as nervous as I am now. My hands are shaking. I'm waiting for people to come, and I'm like, I could do two 32-ounce bottles of Budweiser, have those down, go brush my teeth. Nobody will ever know I drank. I don't want to drink. I don't want to be in an abnormal state of mind. I don't want to go through this. And so I said a simple prayer. I said, "God, help me." And I kid you not, within 30 seconds, there was a knock on my door. It was absolutely the most amazing thing. God has a way of working in our lives. In 2000, I lived down there for 25 years. I've got 4 beautiful children, 3 grandchildren. They all still live in North Carolina. For some reason, they didn't desire to move from North Carolina to Ohio. I can't imagine why. But in 2013, I kept having this recurring thought that I needed to come back to Ohio. My parents are aging, and at that point in time, there were no real health issues, no situations, nothing that needed immediate attention. It was just a gut feeling, and it kept happening. It kept happening. And in my life, when I've felt that and I've ignored it, it gets painful. It gets painful for me because God's trying to encourage me to do something that he would have me do. And when I don't listen, it's not that God is doing something to me, it's that my consciousness is not happy with me. So I came back to Ohio, made some phone calls, didn't have a place to live, didn't have a job, all that fell together. It's amazing. And was able to return. My grandmother passed in 2014. She was 100 years old, which was absolutely amazing. She was an amazing woman. Recently, it's all kind of coming to fruition. I do want to talk a little bit, though, about how I ended up here and how I ended up where I'm sitting right now. A good friend of mine, a young lady who's become a good friend of mine, we met at the Loudonville Fair, and I believe it was last year, and we sat down and talked for about an hour and a half, 2 hours, her and her husband and I. And she said, "Oh, you got to come try my church." And I'm like, "No, I don't do churches. I don't do Christianity. I believe Christ died for my sins. I believe in God, but I don't do church." "Oh, you need to come try our church. It's different." I've heard that before. "I don't want to come try your church, but thank you for the offer." And she didn't give up, thankfully. Maybe not for you all, but for me. She sent me a message one morning and said, "Hey, I'm down at this house, come see me." And I'm like, "Okay, fine, I'll come see you. I don't know why you want me to come see you." And I got to meet Rob. And when I met Rob said, he said, "Our church is different, we're real." And I'm like, "Yeah, I can reach out and touch you. I'm pretty sure you're real." But it made me think, because that's what I'm looking for. That's what I wanted. That's what my heart desired, is a place where I can be real, a place where people are real, a place where everybody's real. Because life's real. Life's very, very real. Came to the church, liked it, came several Sundays in a row, and then work took me away. In the process of all this going on and me finding the church, we find out that my mom, who's 75 years old, excuse me, has some health issues going on that we didn't foresee. On June 11th or June 10th, she had open heart surgery to replace her atrial valve. She's had several other issues since I've been back, but what transpired is something nobody was expecting. I was fully anticipating Mom was going to go in for open heart. She was going to come back out. She was going to have a new lease on life. She had the presence of mind to choose a transitional care facility, so my dad didn't have to drive her to therapy every day, and that was great. But when she got to the transitional care facility, she didn't like it. She didn't want to be there. She didn't want to do the therapy. I think the words sadistic something and others was mentioned, and a few other choice words. But mind you that this conversation with my mother, these words from my mother aren't my mother. I don't know who it is. It's not somebody's possessed her, I'm sure of it. Something, someone, something. I went and sat in one of her therapy sessions, and I looked directly at her and the therapist, and I said, "I don't know who's possessed my mother, but you need to get out and bring my mom back." So we're talking one day. I talk to her every day. I unfortunately wasn't able to go, and we're talking one day, and she's reading down through her list of diagnoses. And she goes, "So what's this one mean?" And I'm like, "Well, Mom, read it to me, and I'll tell you." And she said, "Okay, it says patient does not understand RTS, vascular dementia." Her mother, my grandmother, had dementia, and to watch that process occur is painful. So let me stop there for a second and go back. I've got to where I am in life not because I grew up trusting in God, not because I had this huge belief in God, not because I was a person who went to church camps and things like that. But I found God as I've grown, and as I've grown, my relationship with God has grown. And to be where I'm at today, in this chair in Ohio, because of a gut feeling, absolutely blows my mind. My gut feelings usually got me in trouble most of the time. For once in my life, actually, how I'm feeling is put me in a place where I can be helpful to somebody, particularly my mom. Her situation is what it is. It's early. Any given morning, she can wake up as my mom or as Satan. I don't know whose choice it is, but it's a situation where it's either laugh or cry, and I get to do both. But I'm so gracious that I've had this opportunity. When Jeremy was up here last week and he said, we need somebody next Sunday, and don't ask me why, but I felt compelled to do so. This isn't something I do regularly. This isn't something I enjoy doing. I'm not having much fun right now. I'd really like a drink of my Diet Pepsi, and thankfully the lights are shining in my eyes so I can't see most of you out there. Not that you're a bad-looking bunch, but it would be overwhelming. My faith in God has grown immensely over the years, and it's been by trial and tribulation. It's by falling on my face and God helping me back up. That trust didn't come easy. That trust didn't come without scars and scratches and bumps and bruises. But I'm here to tell you that by a simple seed, by a small start, by just a simple belief that maybe, just maybe, God can help me, because for a long time I didn't believe God wanted anything to do with me. But with that simple thought, a huge, vastly different relationship can flourish. I don't smile much. And people often ask me why. I say, well, I'm smiling on the inside, don't worry about it. But when I'm here, it's absolutely amazing to me. When I'm here, when we're praising God, when everybody's up here singing, when I'm around you people, I smile a whole lot more than I do at any other time. So I really look forward to my time here at New Hope. It's been an amazing church, and it is very, very real. Hey, Clay, how's that?